Hey everyone, I'm Jeff,
And I'm Gary.
and today we're going to be looking at the first implementations of, or first pass at an implementation of Gary's United Democratic Nations website. Gary, we talked about that in a previous podcast, and you've been working on it. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I took your lead and installed the Claude application on my computer, my
Mm,
Windows computer. And I also contacted GoDaddy, where I happened to be doing hosting, and purchased a hosting plan for a new WordPress website. So I worked with Claude to do a initial website, and then it talks me through the process of uploading it. And it went really well. I mean, it's just there now, and it's working pretty well as designed. It's not entirely pretty, but that wasn't my goal right now. My goal is just to get it to be functional. So yeah, and basically, I'm somebody who I used to program, and I really don't want to program anymore. I was kind of reluctant to do this, because I don't want to. But let's see what the AI can do, and it's been fascinating. It brings you through all that tediousness that I have no interest in learning, really, about how to manage a WordPress website and all that. But it just kind of hold your hand through the process. So it's not as simple as here's what I want, go, and then 5 minutes later it's a done website. I've spent 2.5 days, you know, putting this together. That's short for a website too, though.
mhm,
But it's not nothing. It's not like it just does everything magically. In fact, it explicitly doesn't want to know your login passwords and things like that. So there's a lot of things where I have to copy and paste screens over to show it what's going on. And then it goes, oh, well, we can fix this by doing that.
mhm.
So it's it's a fascinating workflow, basically.
So, as you said, we both used to be programmers in our previous lives. You, this has a database backend, right? SQL backend.
Yes. Right.
And you built that on your own rather than having Claude do that.
I didn't. Well, since I do know database somewhat, not as much as you, but I know it enough, to figure out what my tables should look like. I did do a first pass of the database, just typing visually, and that was enough to get Claude going on the website because it obviously understands database, and it took it and ran with it. I mean, I've yet to go into an interface and look at my own database that it created for me. It's
Mhm,
MySQL, which apparently it does the type of database it does for this. But I have not even looked at it. So this is
mhm.
all Claude is handling the database for me, even though I gave it the initial design.
One of the things I thought was interesting, anyone out there who's done database programming, the ERD entity relationship diagram.
Mhm.
So Gary and I both separately put the schema into Claude and said, give us the ERD. And it
Mhm.
did. It just mapped it out. So it was very easy to check out the database. And
Yep.
it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
exactly. So,
So you're going to share some of this with us on your screen?
well, you want me to show you what the website looks like
Yeah,
first,
yeah,
then?
that would be good.
Okay. Let me
And
figure out how
maybe
to do.
before we even see it, you can re-emphasize the part that
Okay.
this isn't not for looks yet.
This is what?
It's not for looks.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just for
It's not.
functionality.
Yeah, it's not terribly pretty, but for this application, it really doesn't ever need to be that pretty,
Mhm,
honestly. But so, this works off of the original idea of the United Democratic Nations. How would you do it? And I've had that idea sit there doing nothing for 10 years or like, and now I'm thinking, you don't need to do that. We can actually move forward to it by by bringing in volunteers to fill the different country slots. Well, obviously they don't really represent Angola or Germany or whatever, but it's a start. And
mhm,
then as I hopefully find other volunteers, I'll find some who actually do have some electoral legitimacy. In other
mhm,
words, maybe it's a city councilman who in his latest election got, only 2,000 votes. Well, that's still 2,000 more than or,
mhm.
any individual who's not in an office. So if that person jumps in and takes that slot and other people do the same, in theory, you could, if there's interest, it could work its way up the chain so that you get to a point where Germany really does control their voting on this website.
Mhm.
it's a way to crowdsource the idea into reality,
Right.
is what it's all about.
And I think
So,
we talked about in the video explaining this that you'd
yeah.
hope that you could get one person from each country. Like there's one person in every country, which fills all
Mhm.
the slots to start.
So so for example, here's the website, how it looks right now. It still shows some of the WordPress stuff there,
Mhm.
but you can go to that. It's fundamentally a pretty simple website. The first page you go to, the introduction, also shows you the results. Now, keep in mind, these are all completely bogus numbers or just test data. So like Afghanistan, well, what I did, by the way, is I looked at the democracy index out there and said, well, let's use that as a starting point for our test data. So since that index shows Afghanistan is not a democracy, well, we'll just start it that way. So I gave it essentially 0 votes, yes, and all the votes no. So the conclusion is a no. And then it also shows who's the current member for the organization for that country. So those are. Now you
Mhm.
can also click on, let's say this one here, Albania. I'll click this and then it opens it up and it will show you a breakdown. Here's all of the members who voted yes, and here's the members who voted no. Now, obviously, again, being test data, it's not very nuanced here.
I have to ask you a question. So you didn't have this yesterday. So did you just go into Claude and tell it to add that?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yeah, there's
pretty
a few
cool.
things
I
I've
like
done
that.
this morning that you haven't seen. So I decided it begs a question. Well, who voted for it? So now when you click on it, it expands it to show you the
Mhm.
detailed voting for that country. So
Oh, okay.
that's what this page is about. And that's the page most people would care about, not much else. Now, the members page, this is really in a lot of ways just a place to log in. For instance, I can say who's the here, let's go down. Oops, let's take United States, and then there's the people who are members for the United States. Actually, not one of them is the legitimate one, the active one, which is a problem. I was in it first, and I took myself out of there. So it's a long story, but anyway. So here I can also you can actually log in too. I can say that I'm going to if I'm an administrator in this website, that's no country. Actually, I take it back. That's over on the voting page. So let's go there. So voting page. So if I'm the administrator, which I am, I can then and I have to say no country there. I can log in and then I I'm an administrator, which is in some ways the highest level, but in the other ways, it does not let even me vote, which is by design.
Mhm.
You can be an administrator alone, and that means you don't vote. If I had set myself as an administrator and had a country assigned to me, then I would be both an administrator and somebody who votes.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to build all that in. But anyway, so right now I'm logged in as this. So now when I go to members, I can manage a country. I can say, oh, well, here
Oh.
Afghanistan, I can edit it. And then, well, that's changing the name. Believe it or not, I even had to prepare for country names changing or being added or deleted because the
Ah,
world is not a
interesting.
static place, you know.
Mhm.
So I have to, that was factored in. But, well, let's see what else to say. So this,
So what does it
let,
look like for a voting member? Can you do that?
um, not quickly,
Okay.
not super fast.
Yeah, we'll just leave that
Yeah,
for
and
now.
then just a little one again about line, just saying I made this, blah blah blah. So
Mhm.
it's a very simple website, really. Its only purpose is to allow the members to log in and it dynamically set their vote for each country. And then
Mhm.
at the end of the year, we'll run a process that locks those in place, and then now they're a permanent record. It repopulates with a whole new year, so we're
Mhm.
starting all over again.
Mhm.
So it's simply a voting mechanism, and
Mhm.
yeah. So that's the
Are
website.
you do you have anything in Claude you can show us at all for the
So this is the Claude application. It's not a web interface. It's actually installed on my computer.
Mhm.
And this is just at this point, because I've been doing this 3 days, it's obviously, it's just massive, it's just, oops, oh, we can't. Oh, see, it just goes on and on and on, page after page. So it tends to be a very verbose application,
Mhm,
you know. So you end up with a lot of screens. Um,
mhm,
it's very good at what it does. It occasionally does run into problems uh, where it's just some odd behavior of GoDaddy or
mhm,
WordPress that's not expected, and it can figure it out. It's never got stung. It figures out, oh yeah, you need to do this, just fixes it, just works.
mhm,
Um, there's quite a few times when you're having it do things where it puts up a prompt saying allow, deny for different weird little processes. That's annoying. I wish I could just say
mhm,
yes forever, do it. I don't care that much about this computer, just do it. But that's not apparently an option.
mhm,
Another gotcha I think with this interface is that it would be so much easier if Claude could be in live real time seeing my web screen to see what I'm doing. And it's funny because it's kind of, they know that. And there's actually a plugin for the browser that's supposed to let that happen. But for some reason, it's not working with GoDaddy's interface. It's almost like maybe GoDaddy has a way of setting a flag and saying
mhm,
disable that feature or something.
mhm,
So there's a couple of things that would have made this process much more efficient and easier,
mhm.
and maybe I'm just a beginner and I don't know how to do it, but that was my
Well,
observation.
I mean, we're all in on this AI, but we are somewhat beginners. I mean, we're pretty good programmers, but not AI programmers yet. So I
Yeah.
think we'll learn, and it evolves really fast.
Yeah,
So
I know. Whatever I learned today is different next week, probably.
yeah.
So, but anyway, it was a fascinating experience. I literally went from concept to a completely working website. I haven't yet pointed my domain name, UnitedDemocraticNations.org, to it yet. It still points to the old website, but that would be the final step once I'm happy with this.
Any
Um,
any idea on time frame now, like when you might go live with this and push it out on?
I think just within days. The next thing I was going to do, it's pretty much functioning now. And the next thing I want to do is look if there's a few cosmetic things I want to do to
Mhm.
make it look nicer. Now,
Okay.
a previous WordPress website I built was more graphical, and it used some of the features, or quite a few of them actually, of Elementor, which is one of the most popular plugins for WordPress. Um, I'm not yet 100% sure I want to do that here. I had a long conversation with Claude. If, Anytime I add a plugin, in theory, you're adding more vulnerability too.
Mhm,
So if I genuinely don't need a plugin, it's in some ways better not to have it.
mhm,
So right now it's still in there, but there was another plugin in there that by default WordPress throws in, or GoDaddy does, and I simply disabled the plugin. So
mhm,
I'm still trying to figure all that out. But so now the question is, can I do a few cosmetic changes that are worth having Elementor, or do I just not need Elementor?
mhm.
So,
Okay.
and after
Wow.
that, I make
Looks
it
like
live.
looks great. Hopefully we can update the description of this video with a link, or maybe we'll make another quick video when it's time to go live.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
cool.
So
Okay.
that's
Guess
kind
that's
of
it
it.
for today.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.